in Hero Concept number 5, Laser Focus.
Welcome everyone to Happy Life Results Book Reading Group with the author Stacey McPherson, who is so excited to jump in and talk about this concept with you.
Yes, I am. Laser focus. I guess I had some laser focus there. Hero, we've already talked about the 80-20 principle and the critical few. If that doesn't just trigger a memory of what those are,
If you aren't remembering,
then go back and refresh. Okay, and as you are learning and internalizing these concepts, it really helps to narrow your focus as much as possible.
this is why we haven't given any assignments that take longer than 3 days, and why you've been asked to narrow things down to no more than 3 things to focus on.
It may seem like the more you do at once, the better. But in fact, if you can narrow your focus to one single activity, behavior, or factor that has the highest impact, then focus as much of your time, energy, and attention on that one thing as possible, then your progress will be much more rapid than the scattershot approach.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you guys think of that?
Yeah.
What experience do you have with this? Times when you've had lots of different things going on versus just laser focus on one thing.
Mm-hmm. I liked how you qualified that though. If you pick, because if I pick the one thing and it's eating ice cream,
Oh yeah.
like, hey, I like that one, I'm just gonna do that one. I'm gonna, it's you. How did you say that? You said, if you can narrow your focus to one single activity or factor that has the highest impact. So, not
Highest
just
positive
not
impact.
just say I'm only gonna do this one thing, but what is the thing that will make the biggest difference in the direction I'm trying to go, and then focus that. I mean, you say thing, but it doesn't have to be a thing, right? It could be like, it could be a multi-step process.
Right.
Yeah.
One area.
Or
activity or yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Focus as much of your time, energy, and attention on that one thing as possible. So there are probably, if you think of, I'm just going to do this for this 3-day period, then what could I not include in my 3-day period time-wise that I normally include? Like what could I kind of push out just for 3 days and then get that laser focus and then as much as possible just pile on the focus, the attention, the energy on one thing. It can have really powerful results.
Yeah, if you've got one thing, you can put massive action on the one. I read a book, I think it was called One Thing or One. Anyway, sorry, I didn't prepare notes for this, but yeah, basically, this CEO, he would have team meetings and they would identify all of the things they wanted to get done that week, and then they would meet again the next week and talk about all the things that didn't get done that they had planned to do the week before. And then they shifted gears and they said, okay, rather than all of these different things, let's just pick one that definitely needs to get done by next week. And they ended up getting more things done by focusing on the one thing.
Oh wow.
Than they did when they scatter all of these things need to get done.
Yep.
So then he wrote this whole book on just doing focusing one at a time.
Okay.
So
cool.
The CEO agrees with you.
Yeah.
That laser focus can be a really good way, powerful way to do things.
Yes. So try it out. Have fun with it. I've done it with different things, like with my 7-day fast. That was all like my experience from fasting and how I internalized the physiological signals. That was all I did. Well, it's not all I did. I moved like 5 times.
Yeah, that was just your focus, right? That's what you're saying. You're not saying you stop living life and just fast.
No, I did not do that.
Yeah, so it could be a multi-step, multi-process thing, right? So for example, if your one thing was learning dance, or your one thing was starting up a business, or trying to figure out how to write a book, all the other things, like, did you stop living life when you were? No. So you do other things, but the difference that I observed is that when you have that focus, you fill in whenever there's an opportunity.
Yes.
Around the other stuff that's already in your life. That's when you're like, okay, there's this one thing. If you have multiple things, like which one do I pull up next, and you can waste a lot of time shifting between them. But if like whenever I get a chance, this is the thing, and it just naturally comes up whenever you get that opportunity. If you've ever been reading a really gripping novel, and you're carrying it around, and anytime you get a chance,
such a good example.
you're like nose back in the book.
Yes.
I did this a ton. I was such a geek in high school. I always had a book with me.
I wasn't a geek, but I did the same thing.
Yes. Okay. Thanks. Yeah. But that idea where you've always got it with you, and you just any chance you get.
Yep.
That one focus. You finish the book that way. Whereas if you're carrying a whole book bag and you're like, well, I've got 5 minutes. Which book should I read? This one, or this one, or this one? The time's up.
Yeah. Right. No, that's a really good example.
Or where was I at on this book? Oh wait, no, yeah. You know, like going trying to find your page, and
totally.
you spend a lot of time figuring out what you're trying to do instead of just doing it.
The reason why I moved 5 times was because we were on a road trip and we stayed in different Airbnbs every night.
Yeah.
And we had
not like
7 kids
pack up
with
a whole
us,
house
so we
and-
had to load and unload the car.
Yes, road trip. If you're just my personal recommendation, if you decide to try out the 7-day fast, I recommend not doing it in the middle of a road trip. Just unless you really, want to.
Hey, it made it easy not having to stop to eat.
There we go.
All right, well, we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Okay, see ya.